Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, Wonderfully Made. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel. I really appreciate it. My name is Shanette. Today I'm going to be comparing a really expensive perfume to its really affordable dupe. We're talking about Louis Vuitton Attrape-Reves and Rayhaan's Divine. I have put these to the test and today we're going to talk about it. But before we do that, please be so kind to subscribe to my channel if you are not already subscribed, and if you are, thank you so much and welcome back. I really appreciate it. If you're interested in fragrance content, beauty content, a little bit of lifestyle, luxury content, sprinkled with some faith-based content, because we love Jesus over here, then you are in the right place. Louis Vuitton Attrape-Reves has been a staple in my collection for years now. I've owned this since it came out. I've had at least 2 refills on this for sure. And as you can see, I did get my initials on the bottle. If you don't know, with Louis Vuitton perfumes, you can get refills. I think this perfume is about $350. The price has gone up since I last purchased it, but if you get the refills, you save about $100. The notes are lychee, bergamot, and ginger at the top, peony, Turkish rose, and cacao in the mid. This is Rayhaan Divine. Was this released in 2025 or early 26? I don't remember, but this perfume has lychee, bergamot, and ginger at the top, which is exactly like Attrape-Reves. In the mid, it has peony, rose, and vanilla. Attrape-Reves does not have vanilla. At the base, you have patchouli and chocolate. So the notes are very, very similar. I have worn both of these. Of course, I've had this for years, so I'm very familiar with this scent profile, and I have worn this a few times since purchasing it. So first I'm going to spray. I don't even need to spray it. I mean, yeah, okay. I love it. It's deep, sensual, a little bit spicy to my nose. Sweet, but not overly sweet. Now Rayhaan Divine. This one is really nice. It's softer though. It's a little bit brighter, not as rich as Attrape-Reves, but they do smell a lot alike. On first sniff, I definitely 100% know what the inspiration behind Divine is. I mean, you get Attrape-Reves for sure. I like it. It's almost a fresher take on Attrape-Reves. I get all of the notes in Divine, but it takes a minute to get there. You can detect the differences upon initial spray. The dry down, however, they become way more similar. The OG is a smoother blend. I get a lot of the rose and the cacao. It's a deeper, richer smell upon opening, whereas I think with Divine, I get more of that bergamot and ginger, so it has a brighter opening. So let's talk about the wear test. I started off this wear test with Entrapment by Brown Sugar Babe. This is their interpretation of Louis Vuitton's Attrape-Reves. And I will say that this is really close. I would say that it's about 75 to 80% close to Louis Vuitton's Attrape-Reves. It's not an exact replica, but it's really close. It smells a lot alike, and it's really good to use as a base for your perfume so you don't have to use as much, and it will definitely help it wear a little bit longer and louder. So I use this as a base for both Attrape-Reves and Rayhaan's Divine. I applied both of these around 8:30 on my way to work, and I love the way it smelled. I'm telling you, in the air, you can barely tell the difference. I have an untrained nose, okay? And most of the people in my life are regular perfume wearers. They're not going to even try to detect differences, even though they may ask what I'm wearing. If I tell them one or the other, they would just trust what I'm saying. Over the past year, I have been trying to train my nose some because I'm posting more fragrance content and I've been enjoying the ride. So I put these on around 8:30 and they both smelled amazing. I could detect the differences between the two upon first spray. This one's a little deeper. I get a lot of the rose and cacao in this one, where upon initial spray in Divine, it's a little bit brighter. I get more of the bright citruses and the spiciness from the ginger. One of my biggest complaints about Attrape-Reves has always been the longevity. It smells really nice, but for the price, baby, we need you to last more than 2 or 3 hours. This one has been in my collection a while, so it does project a lot better and wears a lot longer than when you first purchase it. But still, for the price, I've said in prior videos that if it can get me at least halfway through my workday, 4 or 5 hours, I don't mind having to reapply. But 2 to 3 hours is unacceptable, especially if you're going to be paying $350 for a perfume. 1 hour in, both of these perfumes were still projecting. I could still smell it on my skin as well as clothes, as well as in the air. My office smelled like both of these and they smelled almost the same in the air. I only detected the differences because I'm trying to compare the two and I was searching for differences. Had I not been looking for the differences, it would be virtually unnoticeable. I will say from the onset, Rayhaan Divine projected more than Attrape-Reves. About 3 hours in, Attrape-Reves, Louis Vuitton, was pretty much a skin scent. It was still on my clothes. I could still smell it on my clothing, but Divine was still projecting. I can smell it from here. It was still on my skin. It was still on the clothes. Whereas Attrape-Reves, I almost had to put my hand on my nose to smell it, or at least very close to my nose in order to smell it. So yeah, Attrape-Reves becomes a skin scent really, really quickly, but it was still projecting on my clothes. So around 2 p.m., Rayhaan Divine was definitely sitting a little bit closer to the skin, but I could still smell it with little effort. Rayhaan was still performing very well on the clothes. Attrape-Reves was still there, but it's definitely a skin scent at this point, but you can still smell it on your clothes with little effort, you know? So it does stick to the clothes very, very well. It becomes a skin scent, but you can still smell it, okay? But you do have to search for it a little bit more by that 6 hour mark for sure. Typically, if I wasn't doing a wear test, I would have reapplied this. Whereas I don't feel I would have needed to reapply Rayhaan Divine. By this point, these smell almost exactly the same. As Rayhaan Divine dries down, it becomes deeper. I get more of that rose and chocolate, which makes it smells similar to this, because what I love about Attrape-Reves is that rose and cacao. And so the dry down is where you really start to see, oh, these are almost the same. Overall, is Rayhaan Divine a one-to-one dupe of Attrape-Reves? No, it's not. I would say the opening is about 80% there. At the dry down, it's more like 95%. Which one do I prefer? I'm not gonna lie. I prefer Attrape-Reves in terms of the richness of the scent, the smoothness of the blend. I love the way it smells on my skin and in the air from first spray until the dry down. And to that extent, I guess I would say that Attrape-Reves is more of a linear fragrance. It pretty much smells the same throughout the wear. Whereas Rayhaan Divine does take you on a bit of a journey. It starts off a little bit brighter, fresher, and then it dries down into something that's a bit more rich and deep, and therefore closer to Attrape-Reves. I prefer this one, Attrape-Reves by Louis Vuitton, for the way it smells and how it wears from beginning to end. But of course, Divine, I'm gonna have to say it projects more, and it definitely wears longer. It outlasts Attrape. This was what, 30 bucks? I don't think that Attrape-Reves is worth the money. I love the way it smells. I really do. I don't want to say you can get the same experience because this is richer and deeper from the beginning, but you can definitely get the overall essence of Attrape-Reves in Divine. It's just going to take you a little bit longer to get there, but you absolutely can get there. Another thing to consider is using Rayhaan Divine on top of Brown Sugar Babe's Entrapment. These two together will give you a pretty close experience of wearing the OG Louis Vuitton Attrape-Reves. And so that is my final opinion. I do believe that this is really a nice dupe of Attrape-Reves. It's not one-to-one, but it's very, very close, and I love them both. If I were to make a recommendation to someone, unless they just wanted to spend the money and go into Louis Vuitton and have the whole experience of owning a Louis Vuitton fragrance, to me is just not worth the money. I am on a mission to dupe every designer and niche perfume that I own if I can. And I will be making decisions on whether to repurchase the dupe versus the original. I have thoughts on several of them already. Stay tuned for that. I do have a sneak peek of the dupes that I have so far in my collection. I posted that on a short a week or so ago, so I will link that above if you want to just have a quick sneak peek. But I'm gonna come and talk about all of them. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for sticking through this video. I really appreciate you taking a few minutes of your day to spend with me. I really, really appreciate it. Again, I'm going to ask that you please like, comment, and subscribe. Please help me revive this channel. It would be really, really appreciated. As always, remember that you are fearfully and wonderfully made by God, and He loves you. And I'll see you in the next video.